Hi everyone. You're working on drawing 5.9 and I really want us to take a look at this together first. This is probably one of the drawings that has the most amount of dimensions you've seen so far. So let me just kind of explain what you're looking at here. We have our front view, we have our top view, and we have a back view. That's something we don't see very often. I want us to look here at we have angled slots. We have countersink holes here and here. We also have countersink holes here, but they're actually on the other side of the part. So if we look up here, we can see since this is the back side, here it's calling out these to be countersink holes as well. And you'll notice that on this side, these four outside ones now have a dashed line around here. Well, it's a hidden line. It's because you can't see it from this side. You can only see the little part that goes through it. So just like here, these are hidden lines because you can't see them from this side. But if you look at your side view, you can kind of see which direction they're all on. I also want to point out a detail view here. Now I had actually moved this to a second sheet so that it was a little bit bigger for you guys. And you'll see it's called out as a detail view. And this is what's actually giving you all of your dimensions to do on this side and on this side. Okay, so let's just kind of start out with our basic rectangle shape. We know that we can do that. We also know that these features on the left and the right side are cut all the way through because we can see the holes here. So we can do those as part of the same sketch. Let's look at our overall dimensions here for this rectangle. It is 15 by 1.75. So let's start with that. Fifteen by 1.75. There we go. We know that there's fillets on the end of here, so let's find where those are identified. 0.45. There we go. Okay, so our basic shape is there. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at these that are on the end. We know that we have two circles. Now look, they're the same. So there's no point in drawing all of it. What would be easiest is to draw one and then use this 11.5 to do a pattern over to the other side. So let's go ahead and place the first circle. So it's 1.75 and it's 875 up. So let's start with that. The circle itself is 0.39. So let's draw a circle. We can add our dimensions in just a minute. 0.39. Let's go ahead and zoom in now. Come back to our first sheet. So 875 off the bottom. Oops, I don't want another circle. Let's get out of that. 0.875 off the bottom. And then 1.75 off this edge. Okay, so we have the circle. So now let's get the specifics of our pieces on the ends. So we need a construction circle that has a diameter of 2 inches. So let's do another circle. Pick your construction button and make that 2 inches. Now uncheck your construction button, otherwise it's going to get stuck there. And then we need these shapes. So let's go ahead and go to rectangle. And we can see here's a 3-point or a center point arc. So I'm not sure that it matters at this point. I'm just going to do a center. Nope, I do want to do actually, let's, hold on. If we do this, okay, well, it puts it on center, but let me show you what I just did because I know that went very quickly. So here's a center point arc. So it's basically this is going to be around a center point. Well, we do want it around a center point because it's around this. So I selected it, I chose my center. Now come out and choose the construction and then just come up. We can add our dimensions in just a minute. Let's do that. Right click and hit OK. Now these can be moved up and down, these points here. So let's look at some of our dimensions. Okay, we know that it's 40 degrees from here to here. So let's use our construction lines. Center point to center point, and then center point to center point. And let's add that 40 degrees. Okay, we added that. What's next? We know that it calls out a diameter, but it's not a full circle, so be careful of that. 266 divided by 2. There you go. We cut it in half because we're only calling at a radius here. Okay, so we have that. So that's what it's giving us. Now, if we look here, it's telling us we need one dimension needed because these aren't defined. So if this is 40, let's go ahead and do another construction line that is horizontal. And let's put these right on both sides. So these will each be 20. And then it's telling us we still have a dimension needed. So let's find out what it is. Let's kind of drag some stuff around. Oh, it could be because this length is not defined. So let's just stick a dimension on here just for the heck of it. Yeah, see now it's fully constrained. We don't care how long this construction line is. It really doesn't matter to us. One thing that we could have done is instead of adding this dimension, we could have just brought this in and finished it right on that middle section and see it's fully constrained. So I would rather do that than add a dummy dimension that doesn't hold any value. Okay, we need one of these exactly on the other side. So why can't we just do a circular pattern? So let's try it. Circular pattern, what do we want to pattern? We want our slot around what center? But we only want 2 of them. And hit OK. Perfect. Okay, so not only do we want a circular pattern, we want to put this down at this end. So let's come back to our first sheet. And it says center to center is 11.5. So let's do that. Let's zoom in again so we can select everything. And we're going to do a rectangle pattern this time. Let me move this out of the way. You need to select. You don't need to select the construction information. You just need to select your slots and that center circle. And then switch and click on your direction 1 arrow. Choose your bottom line. It's going the right way. So 2 of them and 11.5 I believe it was. And you can see the preview, which looks great. Hit OK. Sketch is still fully constrained. Fantastic. So let's see, we need to extrude this. So let's see what our extrusion is. Normally we get like a right view, but this time we have a top and it's telling us it's 0.25. So let's come up here to extrude. Select this, 0.25. Let's go ahead and zoom out so we can see what we have. Fabulous. Okay, the next step we have are these 4 countersink holes. So let's address those. I'm going to move this so that I can see it when I have this open. Let's start a sketch on the surface. And then we need to put points. Points are what the computer uses to identify where you want some holes. So the very first thing I want to do is let's take a look again. And we know because of all of these center lines right here that these are lined up, these 2 are lined up, these are lined up, and these are lined up. So let's use our constraints so we don't have to add so many things. So let's start with a horizontal. These 2 are horizontal. These 2 are horizontal. Let's switch to vertical. These 2 are vertical, and these 2 are vertical. Awesome. So let's go ahead and get some dimensions on here. We know that the top one is 1.275 off the bottom edge. 1.275. We know that the bottom one is 0.475 off the edge. 0.475. We know that they're both 3.575 off this edge. 3.575. And we know that center to center is 7.85. Okay, now we don't need any other dimensions because we did our horizontal and vertical constraints, and down here you can see it's fully constrained. So from here, we need to remember these are holes. So let me do this so that I can see this information when I'm in Inventor. There we go. So let's come straight up to our 3D model tab and go to hole. And let's fill in our information here. So it's a countersink, so you need to make sure you select your countersink hole. And it doesn't say anything about it being threaded, so we're going to leave it on a simple hole. We know the through hole is 0.2. So if we look down here, this is the one that goes through. So it's just 0.2. And we know it goes through, so we have to change this to through all. The countersink diameter is 0.43. So we need to change this to 0.43. And it's 82 degrees, which is standard, so you shouldn't have to manipulate that. And you can see that it selected all 4 of these, so let's hit OK. There we go. Okay, so now we need to flip the sucker over and put these 4 in. So let's go ahead and flip it over and start a sketch. Okay, so if you see that you have a toolbar that came out, there's these options here that'll say return panels to ribbon. That way it's not in your way anymore. Okay, we need to go and put points where these are. So let me go ahead and put 4 points because there's 4 holes. And then if I look over here, I can see that they're all lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and do a horizontal constraint and make them all horizontal. That way they're all there. I know that they are 0.875 off the bottom. So let's go ahead and add that. I know the first one is 5.4 off the edge. And then the next one is 1.1 from center to center. We have this next one, which is 8.5 off the edge. And then this next one is also 1.1 from center to center. Fabulous. So they're in their location. The sketch is fully defined. So we want to come up here and let's double check what the size of these are. See, these are different. So let's go ahead and go to hole. It's still a countersink, so it should still be defaulted to countersink with a through. But our through hole is 0.266. So let's change that. And it's through. Our countersink diameter is 0.53, so it's getting bigger. And once again at 82 degrees. So that's good. And it selected them, so hit OK. So you guys, now we can see here that we have our completed part. Great job.